Hey folks, SAVAGE1 here, and I just wanted to present to you guys today a Prot Warrior guide to PvP in 8.0.1. Now I'm going to break this guide down into a couple of sections. First and foremost, we're going to go over talent, and then we're going to go over your rotation, and then we're going to go over your stat priority. Now let's go ahead and get into talents. Now in the first tier of talents for Prot Warrior, you're going to spec into Impending Victory. Now Impending Victory gives you a 20% heal every 30 seconds, and every time you kill an enemy that reflects honor or experience, it resets. So you have a 20% heal basically every 30 seconds. Now this is good for PvP because not always are you going to be getting the killing blow on the enemy player, so having a 30-second 20% heal is essential for survivability. Now our second tier talent, we're going to go with Bounding Stride, because most of the time you're going to be a flag carrier, so having mobility is key when running a flag, and Bounding Stride gives you an additional run speed increase of 70% for 3 seconds after you land from Heroic Leap. Okay, and it also reduces the cooldown of your Heroic Leap by 15 seconds. Okay, and that's an incredible decrease in your cooldown. Now, as far as our third tier talent, the best talent in this tier is going to be Unstoppable Force. Basically, once you proc your avatar, you will decrease your Thunderclap's cooldown by 50%, and it also increases the damage of Thunderclap by 100%. Now, Thunderclap is an AoE damage dealer, and it also slows down targets within a radius for a considerable amount. Okay, now our fourth tier talent here, you're going to go with Indomitable. This is going to increase your maximum health by 10%. Now, in a PvP situation, having just straight up health buff is going to be essential, especially when people are going to try to kill you and you have debuffs on you for having a flag, or you're running a cart, or you're holding an orb, stuff like that. Now, our fifth talent, we're going to want to go for Stormbolt. Now, this provides you with an additional CC among the plethora of different CCs that you have to play with as a Prot Warrior. Now, this is basically a single target CC or a stun, and it actually does some damage. So it also stuns the target for 4 seconds as well, which can come in handy, especially if you have attackers on you and you want to slow them down and get away from them. Now, also your sixth tier talent, we want Booming Voice, which it provides Demoralizing Shout, 40 rage generation, and it increases the damage you deal to affected targets by 15%. Now, the damage dealt to the target isn't the biggest thing about this talent. It's the 40 rage generation. Okay, so being a Prot Warrior, you don't generate as much rage as the other specs, so having a flat rate of rage generation every 45 seconds is very substantial. Okay, and for our last talent, we're going to choose Anger Management. Like I said before, having a rage regenerate is a little harder for Prot, so having Anger Management will basically reset the cooldown for Avatar, Last Stand, Shield Wall, and Demoralizing Shout by 1 second when you use 10 rage. So it basically makes all of your talents that generate raid, it resets their cooldown by 1 second. That's very essential when you're trying to generate rage and mitigate damage. Now let's move on to the PvP talents here. Now the very first one, you'll get a chance to pick between a few talents here: Adaptation, Relentless, and Gladiator's Medallion. Because there's rogues that like to sap and they have a lot of CC, you don't want Adaptation because it might proc automatically just off of sap. So you don't want a rogue to sap you and then your Adaptation procs, and then next thing you know, you do not have your instant movement impairing effect removed remover. So having Gladiator's Medallion, it allows you to proc that whenever you need it. Now, another PvP talent I like to use is Dragon's Charge. Now, Dragon Charge is a very good knockback maneuver. It also provides a very good speed boost. So it helps you to provide a lot more maneuverability as a Prot warrior, and it makes Prot warrior very quick and probably the most mobile spec in the actual class of warrior. Now, you can choose between either Oppressor or Mass Spell Reflect. Now, I like to use Oppressor because it provides a 3% additional damage debuff to the target, and this stacks 5 times. So if you have 5 people attacking one target, that means they are receiving 15% increased damage. This helps when you're trying to focus a target and healers are focusing that same target, and it provides a lot of damage to that target when it's hard for you to get past the heals. Now, as far as Mass Spell Reflection, it does provide good spell reflection when there's a lot of casters on the enemy team, and you can provide basically a AoE debuff that reflects the spells back to the target. So if a mage or a warlock is, about to chaos bolt, or they're trying to do a pyroblast or some big damage with their ranged attack, it'll then be directed back to them and deal damage to them instead of you. Okay, typically Oppressor is going to be the better of the two, since it basically provides you with a flat DPS buff to all party members involved. Now, for the last PvP talent, I pick Warpath because what it does is provide you with an AoE stun for your heroic elite. So when you're trying to run a flag and there's obstacles in your way, there's enemy players that are trying to CC you, you can pounce on them and stun them and be on your way. Now, let's go over rotation. Rotation for a Prot warrior is not specifically for dealing damage. Your rotation is going to be something that is very fluid, and you want to use as much of your rage generators so you can mitigate damage and use your rage for your mitigation abilities. Now, your main rage builder is going to be Demoralizing Shout, because if you proc into it correctly, it provides you with 40 rage automatic. Now, Intercept and Shield Slam, they are both going to be 15 rage for every use. Now, as far as your Intercept, you have 2 charges of this. So theoretically, from an instant, you can get up to 30 rage just by doing 2 intercepts, right? And then your Shield Slam is going to be a big part of your rotation because it's on a low cooldown, so you're going to use this ability a lot. Now, this Shield Slam is going to be reset by Thunderclap, Devastate, and Revenge, and it has a 30% chance to do so. So you're definitely going to want to use Devastate and Thunderclap. Now, Thunderclap is probably the least generator of your rage, where it only generates 5 rage. But like I said, this is something that you need to put into your rotation to proc your Shield Slam to reset. Now, Devastate, this is not a rage generator, but you want to sprinkle it into your rotation to provide you with a much more fluid rotation. Now, as far as Revenge, you can add it into your rotation, but Revenge should only be used as a free proc. So basically, successful dodges and parries are going to make your next Revenge become free. So basically, you're only using Revenge if it's a free use. Now, that's just your basic rotation. You have a bunch of other abilities that provide interrupts, CCs, and defensives, but you want to use all that stuff sparingly and not as much as you're going to use Shield Slam, Thunderclap, Intercept, and Demoralizing Shout. Now, as far as your rage spenders, Revenge is a rage spender, but you're only going to use it when there's a free proc. As far as the other rage spenders you have Ignore Pain, which is a big one. Depending on how much rage you're going to use, it's a 40 rage spender, but you can ignore 50% of the damage taken up to a large amount. And basically, it gives you a little shield that prevents any damage up until a certain amount. Also, you're going to want to use your rage on shield block. It's on a 17-second recharge, and it has 2 charges onto it. It also increases your damage to shield slam by 30% while active, and it basically blocks all melee attacks against you for 6 seconds. So you're going to want this up most of the time. Now you can't have it up 100% of the time, so you want this definitely part of your rotation as a rage spender. Now I like to put taunt in there into the rotation, especially in PvP, because you're going to be talenting into this as a PvP talent to provide additional damage for everybody in your group that's attacking a single target and focusing targets. Now let's move on to stat priority. So first and foremost, you're going to want to prioritize haste, because haste is going to drastically decrease the cooldown of your shield slam and your thunderclap abilities, as well as revenge. And these generate massive amounts of rage. So more rage means more damage mitigation. So the more haste you have means the more rage you have, means the more damage mitigation that you're spending your rage on. Now the second stat will be versatility. Versatility is a stat that increases your damage done, which isn't the biggest part about this. What the biggest part about versatility, it also provides you with increased healing from all sources, and that includes ignore pain. So the more versatility you have, the greater your ignore pain is going to work for you. I guess mastery would be definitely third best, as it provides you with a chance to critically block. So any critical attacks, you have a certain percentage to block those attacks. Now, as far as everything else, it sort of, sprinkles in there. I mean, you're going to have a lot of secondary stats as a prot warrior. So main thing, try to worry about your haste, your versatility, and your mastery. Now, I don't really want to go into macros, because there's really only one macro that you're going to need as a prot warrior, and I'll put it down in the description below. But basically, it involves pretty much all of your defensive cooldowns macroed into one cooldown, and I'll put that macro. It's like a one-shot macro for your defensive, but it allows you to put all your defensive on one macro, sort of as like a, oh shit, I'm about to die and I need heals immediately. But that's all I wanted to talk about today. I hope you like my video. I have a Patreon, a Twitch channel, and I frequently have a lot of my videos and a lot of the stuff that I talk about on my Facebook as well, and I'll put all that information into the description below for you guys. But if you like my video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more great videos just like this. And if you don't like it, send me a comment in the comment section below. Or if you do like it, send me some comments, or just don't comment at all. I don't care. But anyways, have a good day, guys, and see you next time.